Another great show, and Tomas Manglona here in studio. Pacific Matters, Tomas. This is some good stuff.
Yeah, good morning, Chris Bree, Jason Joser. Pacific Matters will be premiering on Monday, and we're going to be sharing. It's a new regional show that will be zooming out and focusing on issues that impact Guam, the Sinai, Micronesia, and the larger Pacific. And for our first show, we have a great lineup of guests. We're going to do some in-depth original reporting, and then followed with some great Q&A that KUAM does, and asking people from around the Pacific and really internationally what their thoughts are on issues that impact Guam, the Sinai, and the region. So it's all connected to also what happens here at home.
Yeah. So when we talk about region, right? Like how far out are we going?
Well, for our first show, we're gonna hop on over to Suva, Fiji. We're gonna be hopping over to Saipan, and we're gonna have someone in Australia. So it really, covers the
They
region.
call you the island hopper, boy. This is that boy from Rhoda who jumped around all the islands.
And we're gonna want to, of course, when things clear up, do more in-person interviews, whether that be in the NMI or here. And so for the first show, we're catching up. We're placing things in a context of. For the issues with COVID in Micronesia, we speak with the World Health Organization director who leads the logistics here in Micronesia. We have also the Sinai firefighters who went to battle one of the largest wildfires in California's history. About 19 of them went. And then we also are throwing in some lifestyle and fun things, and have a host of a new cooking show that launched in Australia that's getting a lot of buzz, and we're going to take a little bit of a bite into that show. And so we have a clip here that we prepared, and Chris mentioned
Stanford
this.
has prepared you well for the pun game.
Chris has prepared me. But yeah, so take a look at this short clip, and this one is with the World Health Organization speaking about lockdowns, and especially how it relates to how we approach the pandemic here in the Pacific.
There you go.
The lockdowns and other sorts of restrictions, certainly the experience around the world with COVID is that where those are done well, and by well it means that they're well thought through and also the community supports them, they are actually very effective, particularly in the earlier types of COVID that weren't quite as infectious. It's a bit harder for the very infectious Delta, but they still have a big effect. Then the question is, what is the country or the area or the island trying to achieve? So for a place that is trying to have no COVID, so trying to eliminate COVID, then those sorts of lockdowns can be really very important to try to get rid of COVID if it does come in. For other countries, other places where they are not trying to eliminate COVID, but what they are trying to do is manage how much effect the virus is having on the people, then maybe lower levels of restrictions or different measures might be a better fit. But what we do know from right around the world is that although vaccination is super important, and it's great that there's vaccines available, it's not the full solution. That even with countries that have got very high rates of vaccination, people still need to be taking precautions to protect their own health and the health of their family.
Wow. What was his name, Tomas?
So Dr. Mark Jacobs, he heads things in the Pacific region for the World Health Organization, and he previously handled, and we talk about this in the interview, and there's a package that follows, a news package, a news story that follows each of these interviews. And he talks about leading the swine flu outbreak response in New Zealand in 2009. And he's dealt with this at a really large level.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about things that happen in the Pacific region, that outbreak in particular was really horrible in 2009. And he helped contain that through a lockdown method. But we also talked about the differences in these different disease and outbreaks that people have to do. And then again, just gotta shout out our folks in the Sinai and Saipan who tune in and also watch the link. Hello to you, and wanted to say can't wait to share the good stories that we hear about the firefighters who've actually been going to the States for, more than a decade now. And it was funny because we found out about this story through a viral WhatsApp video of a news side report. And in that report, they said, these CNMI firefighters are used to just handling banana trees.
Wow.
And the first thing in response, because, I said, wow, this is great coverage. And then the chief was like, well, we handle much more than that.
Yeah.
And so we cover that. We handle
banana trees
we
that's the
know,
last
right?
thing
Living
about
on
it.
island, we know what we know how dangerous fires can be.
No,
here.
we handle pugwa trees too.
And so I think, and then again checking in Australia with our friend Miss Catalina, who runs a wonderful cooking show that's getting a lot of buzz across the region as well. We're going to be learning about a new dish that she had in her show, and it's going to be weekly Monday. It's going to be premiering live on KUAM's Facebook around 11 a.m. and then airing right after news in prime time. And so you can look forward to so much that's ahead. And I don't want to give too much away about the following episodes, but we have a great episode right after that, taking a deep dive into Rhoda becoming possibly the next national park, the 58th national park in our country.
Wow.
So
Dang.
we're
All of that?
All of that.
What have you guys been doing? Dude, can you just tell me the rest of what the guy from WHO said? Because that is so...
You have to watch.
Well, it was interesting because he said...
Because, I mean, talking about what we're doing and being in this crazy surge, like every word that he said
he had
really...
a lot to say.
Yeah,
and I
had a
asked
lot of
him,
weight.
I asked him the hard question that you all here ask on the link. I asked him, how do we balance the economy and people having to deal with their lives? Live their lives outside of a lockdown situation, and we talk about it all, and he doesn't shy away from the answers. He's so busy. I was telling Sabrina earlier. They said you can only have 10 minutes with him because they emailed him 3 months ago, and so they responded. And so we're airing the entire 10 minutes of the interview, and it just gives some good perspective. And again, it's a regional show, but the issues really are rooted here in Guam and the CNMI.
Yeah.
You do not want to miss this.
Yeah, this guy's a stud right here, guys.
We can't even see the premiere. I tried to get into it, and Tomas locked the folder. So
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
Well,
I can't even hack it.
Oh, wow.
All right.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tomas.
Thank you, Tomas.
Good job, man.
All right. Again, Pacific Matters debuts on Monday, 6:30 KUAM TV 8, and on Facebook, you said 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not going to tell us?
I just did.
He's really into this
You're
interview.
just going to have to wait for it. Yeah. No, because it's such a valuable perspective because we're only hearing from, our government. So to hear from the WHO, and this is like, this is the freaking WHO.
That's top of the food chain.
That's
man.
like above the CDC. So to hear what they have to say, it's really relevant. And it kind of reminds me of what Sabrina and I have been doing here in folding in what's happening in the NMI as far as their COVID response. And so we've done that routinely on the link here because, a lot of times with this pandemic and the way it's been here on island, it's like we're living in this bubble. So to kind of compare and contrast what's happening just 45 minutes to the north, because it's a totally different story in the CNMI.
And as we reported, the travel restrictions, the travel protocol has changed. And we'll have more on that on prime
That's
time
what I mean.
about getting tested because the concern is there. And I remember when I first called into the show when I just got back around last year, and you asked me why, people were like, why do we have to asking questions? A lot of people asking questions about what's happening on the other islands, and I remember when this was just on radio at first. People were saying, because we can compare in terms of, people are always wondering in terms of size, in terms of government, in terms of laws, in terms of political status, what does this all mean? So hoping to just continue to add to that great conversation.
Right, yeah, because, I'm getting friends from Saipan who are starting to, starting last week, they're messaging me, hey, what's going on with you guys? Like, why is it so bad there? What are you guys doing? What's your governor doing? What are you going to do? So, yeah, it's very important to compare and contrast. And I got to say, when it comes to the COVID, and you know how competitive we are with the CNMI here. They are whooping our ass, for real. And they're doing such a great job. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous that I'm almost about to block all of my CNMI friends on social media because I'm tired of seeing them, like acting like there's no pandemic because they got it under control. And you're right. And it's the way they move, right? And so they move with these surges. If there's a threat, they do something to neutralize a threat, like reinstitute the quarantine. And that has us scratching our head here on Guam, like, why aren't we doing anything? Anyway, thanks.
Yeah, no, I've spoken to a lot of people who are in quarantine, who've gone through there.
Yeah.
Some have complaints, and others say this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
And so, you get a range of those perspectives of those who say it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, and others who say I'm entitled to something else.
Right. There you go. Well, Tomas, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Right
Thank
on.
you.
Good job, man.
Definitely one of our shining stars, and so grateful to have him back on the team. It's 9:24. Oh, it's 9:24. Let's take a break, and then we'll come back and do Feed Me Fridays right here on the link. Good morning, Friday.
We know you're tired of hearing about COVID-19. Some of you are probably wondering whether this is ever going to end. However long